Hi everyone, welcome back to Earl Grey Books. I'm Ellie. Today I am sharing my most read authors as of the end of 2020. So these are just the top 10. I do want to be honest and admit that I did cut out a couple of authors from this list that I didn't want to talk about. I'm sure you can imagine who. As well as a couple of ones that I read as a kid that I just haven't touched since I was like 10. So otherwise, this is the top 10. We're going to start from bottom to top, and these books that I'm showing you aren't necessarily my favorite ones. I have just picked a book per author to show, and these are the ones that I could find it the easiest. So I guess in kind of a tie for number 10, I have Leigh Bardugo and Daphne du Maurier. I have read 8 books by both of them. This is The Language of Thorns by Leigh Bardugo. This is Jamaica Inn. I felt like I always held up Rebecca, so I wanted to talk about something different. These are 2 of my favourite books from these particular authors. This, of course, is a stunning bunch of fairy tales connected to the Grishaverse series that are illustrated throughout. There's like an illustration on every single page, even if it's just around the border. So, stunning book. And this one, Jamaica Inn, I think is probably one of du Maurier's best, other than Rebecca. This also takes place in Cornwall, and this is kind of more of like about like pirates and like a really, most of her books are dark. Rebecca is dark, but it's like a different kind of darkness in here, and I really love this. So next up, again, tied. I don't actually own either of these authors anymore, but I have Maureen Johnson and Maggie Stiefvater. I loved reading these 2, particularly in high school. They were ones that they were popular around the time, but they were ones that I could easily get at school and from libraries and things like that. I got to meet Maggie Stiefvater, which was amazing, and so I really enjoyed them at the time. I haven't read anything by them in quite a while. I don't really have an interest in Maggie Stiefvater's books anymore. If she were to release something that really interests me, I would definitely read it. But I'm not super interested in what she's been publishing lately. Maureen Johnson took a really long break. I think she was quite unwell. And yes, she started a new series, which is like a mystery series that I'm really, really interested in, but I just haven't got around to yet. I believe it's the Truly Devious series. So would love to read that. Just haven't got to it yet. Maybe in the new year. We'll see. Next up, with 10 books, we have Margaret Atwood. So Atwood has kind of bumped up this list because I've read 2 this year, including this one. This is Wilderness Tips, which I just read a couple of days ago. This one's alright. It's not my favourite of hers. But yeah, obviously I talked about Atwood like consistently throughout 2018, and yes, still love her, still reading her. Also got to see her talk at the start of this year before we all went into quarantine, which was incredible. And I love her. Next up with 12, I have William Shakespeare. This is 12th Night. I don't own most of his that I've read. because it took me a really long time. I studied a lot of them in school, but it took me a really long time to find editions that I liked, and I think I'm going to go with these ones from Mcmillan's Collector's Library Editions are what they are called. They're really gorgeous, really nice end papers and really simple onto here, and they've got like gold pages, but they're also just like a nice size. They're easy to read, and there's no like footnotes or like asterisks or those sorts of things, which always annoy me in books. So yes, we'll hopefully be picking up more of these. Like I said, I only own 2 of his plays and a edition of his sonnets. So in 2021 I would really like to collect more in these editions of the ones I have read, and then as well as a couple that I haven't. Okay, next up with 13 we have, of course, Rick Ryden. So I've read the entire Percy Jackson series as well as the Heroes of Olympus series. I also read a couple of the I read one of the like companion books to it, and then I've read the first book of Magnus Chase and the Kane Chronicles. So I still have a couple that I need to finish off to catch up with. But I love him. Obviously named my cat after Percy, so very special place in my heart, and I will hopefully be catching up with his things in 2021. Again, I have 2 that have 15, which are these 2, Cassandra Clare, Lemony Snickets. Lemony Snicket, childhood. I talked in my favourite characters tag video about how much I love this series and how much I love Violet in particular. So, always going to be a favourite. Really want to reread these, so I might do that soon. I might have a plan for that I'll tell you guys about soon. And then of course, yeah, Cassandra Clare. I picked out Chain of Gold. I haven't read everything that she's put out. I read the entire Mortal Instruments series. Didn't particularly love them after the 3rd one. The Infernal Devices, The Dark Artifices, one of the companion books, and then this one. I'm not really interested in most of the companion books. I read that one because it had Kit in it, and I love him. So yeah, love this series. Really excited to see how it's going to continue in 2021. And then with a total of 29 books, surprising probably none of you, it's Agatha Christie. So I technically haven't read all 29, but I'm gonna get up to this particular book in this Perot series by Christmas Eve, so I've still got a couple to go until then, but I'm going to count them all because by the end of 2020 I will have read them. And so I'm about halfway through the Perot series. I've read a couple of other ones. I've read, I think, maybe 1 or 2 Marple, and then some other things that I like, just ones that aren't part of either. And obviously I love her. She's my favourite author, and yeah, what else can I say? I'm kind of shocked that there are so many, because it doesn't feel like that many. And yeah, so for now, for the end of 2020, that is my most read author list. I really think that I'm planning to do this video again around about this time next year, or a post if I depending on what happens, we don't know. Anyway, I have to do an update of this in some form, and I think that it's going to be a very different list, because I have quite a few authors that I've sort of read quite a few of. I just need to read like 1 or 2 books more, and people will sort of start being bumped up and drop down the list. And of course, quite a few of these, well, some of these authors, some of these authors have books coming out in 2021, and yeah, there's a whole bunch that I need to catch up on and all of that. So yes, I think this will be a very different list this time next year. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know who some of your most read authors are, and I will see you all tomorrow.